Hi everybody, Sam Lewis here, the CEO of Sam's Diamonds Cancer Support in the northwest of England. Here's another one of my interviews with somebody that I find super empowering, someone who inspires me, who is really good at helping people to feel happy and see the good side of life and help them move forward in life. This is Jo Howarth, a very good friend of mine. Introduce yourself, Jo. Tell us about yourself.
Hello, my name's Jo Howarth. I am a mummy, I am a wife, and I run a company called The Happiness Club, and I teach people how to be happy. So by trade, I'm a mindfulness practitioner and a hypnotherapist. So I use a blend of those two practices in all the work I do. I work with people one-to-one. I run an online membership club that teaches people daily strategies to help them be happier. And I run workshops and webinars these days on resilience, stress, mindfulness, anxiety, all of those really juicy emotions, helping people learn how to overcome them. Not just live with them in their life, but overcome them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So to do all that, you must be a very strong lady. I know you're a very strong lady, but you yourself must be able to be a very strong lady to be able to cope with people's mindsets and not let it affect your own. What was it, would you say, that first made you feel empowered and grow as a person? Was it at a young age, or was it a certain point in your life where you went, right, not taking any more of this, I'm going to do this?
There was definitely a certain point. I absolutely wasn't empowered as a child. I was actively unempowered as a child,
really?
If that's true. And for me, my moment came in my mid-20s, which was only a couple of years ago, Sam.
It must be as long ago as me then, yeah.
Yeah, about the same, yeah. And yeah, my moment came in my mid-20s. I had never particularly been a very happy person. I'd never been very confident. I was painfully shy, too scared to do anything, wouldn't say boo to a goose. That was absolutely me. And then in my mid-20s, I discovered therapy for various reasons. And for me, it was just a revelation. It just changed the way I saw the whole world, myself. And it's been an ongoing process since then, really.
So were you always like really, really quiet? My daughter's really, really quiet. She's very, loves her own company, likes her art, she just keeps herself to herself. Worst thing you could do is put her in front of people or ask her a question in front of people because she's just like shy, gets really red. Were you like that?
Yeah. Really, seriously, I would have lived in my mum's skirts if I could have, and if I hadn't been scared shitless of my mum.
Oh my goodness. See, this is it. I always worry that I'm the person who's sort of like squashing her because I'm quite outgoing and loud when I want to be. But I tend to, with my kids, to try and push them up a little bit and come on, you can't have a go at that one. You know, like, you go and ask in the shop for that. I'll go, no, you go and ask. You know what I mean? Because they want me to do it for them. I just don't want to be the person that makes them quiet, if that makes sense, because I'm so loud.
Yeah. But I don't think it's that. I don't think you will be the person. I mean, what I came to realize through going through therapy and learning all the stuff that I've learned is that, you know, my life is my responsibility. My reaction to things is my reaction to things. And yes, other people might have affected that as I've gone through my formative years, shall we say. But still within my power, I think that's one of the things that I learned most, that I know now, is that how I am as a person and who I am as a person is utterly within my own power at all times. And that was one of the most invaluable things I've ever learnt in my entire life, for having my eyes opened to that everything I need is already inside me.
Yeah.
And that I can choose what to do and how to do it and how to feel and what to think. and whether to allow that thing to stop me or that thing to stop me, or whether to just trust in myself and go forward. But to realize that all of that is at my fingertips and nobody else's is huge.
That is it. It is huge. I mean, I think a lot of people allow themselves to be influenced by everybody around the outside, what people will think if they were this person, how would people judge them and stuff like that. But I think once you actually get to that point where you don't care because this is your life and you're going to do what you want to do, I think that's where the empowerment comes in, would you say?
Definitely. And I think we spend a lot of time assuming that other people are more confident than us, or better than us, or more intelligent than us, or more able than us in whatever way, and that they know it. We assume that they know that they're good at what they do. Whereas actually, when you speak to some of the most successful people I know, will absolutely say, yeah, I'm winging it. And, you know, I get imposter syndrome and I'm not 100% sure that I'm doing it right. But to the outside world, they look unbelievably confident and together and like they've got it all sewn up.
Yeah.
But we assume that that's how they really feel inside. And 9 times out of 10, it isn't at all.
It's usually just a mask, isn't it?
Yeah, but also, even when they feel like that, they just don't let it stop them.
No.
That's the difference.
Yeah. So when you had your therapy and stuff like that, how did that make you grow as a person after that?
So for me, it just opened up a whole new way of thinking. I had come from a very negative environment, and I had spent most of my childhood being put down and, you know, trodden on, if you like, not physically, but mentally. So for me, the doorway to growth really was learning that different way of thinking, was realizing that actually I didn't have to think that way, that I could choose a different way to think about myself. And it's not something that happens like, ta-da, there we go, now you can see how brilliant you are. It doesn't quite happen like that. It takes, you know, continuous work. For me, it's a lifestyle. It's part of what I do every single day now, 20 some years later. There you go, being honest.
You'd have been well started then.
But it's an ongoing process. It's, you know, it's not something that happens overnight, but therapy very much was the starting point for me to have that realization that it was possible to think a different way, and it was possible to release the stuff inside me and inside here that wasn't serving me, so that I could work towards the life that I wanted to live and the person I wanted to be.
So how would you say that's impacted your life now? By going through that and having that realization, how has that impacted your life today? Would you be where you are now if you hadn't have done that therapy, do you think?
No, I don't think so. I'm eternally grateful for it. And I mean, it's not my only stint of therapy. I've been back for therapy over the however many years it is, several times, because every time you experience something new in your life, it can bring stuff up that you've never had to deal with before and you've never had to face before. So when I had my girls, that was about 10 years after my initial stint of therapy. And oh my word, it brought up so much stuff from my childhood that I didn't want to put on them. And I didn't want it to affect how I was as a mum, because they were the most precious things ever. And so I think really that initial brush, if you like, with therapy it makes it easier. Now I know what it involves. If I need some, I need some. If I need some support, then, you know, I don't think any of this is about doing it yourself, by yourself. I think a lot of people try and soldier on and get through things and try and, you know, come on, toughen up and we must be stronger. And no. For me, it's absolutely about the support you have around you and how well you utilize that support, and whether you reach out for help from people like you that do the most amazing work. You know, it's there to help people through, to support people, to hold their hands through everything. And the strongest thing you can do is reach out and take that hand, I think.
Yeah, it's taken back control of your mindset and your life. You know, a lot of people have a kind of taboo about going and needing therapy. I must be weak, but actually it's a strength to be able to identify that and then go and get it. Because I got it when I was going through my cancer journey. And I'll be honest with you, I talked about everything other than the cancer, because I had the cancer set, what I needed to do when it was finishing. This treatment was then. It was all set in my head what I needed to do. But everything else was making me mental. How everybody else was being around me. So it was really nice to sit down with someone who didn't know me, who I could speak my mind to, and I wouldn't be judged, and they couldn't tell anybody what I was saying. It was just, when it came to the point where they said, I don't think you need me anymore, I was like, no, I do. I quite like this. This is like in America, everybody has a shrink, don't they? Do you know what I mean? And it's just someone to offload to without anything coming back on them, really. So yeah, I think it's massive. Such a good aid to have. Would you agree?
Yeah, totally, hugely. It's and I totally agree with what you've said. So many people think it's a weakness to have to ask for that kind of help, or it's scary. I'm not saying it's not scary. I was absolutely crapping myself the first time I went for therapy. You just have all these preconceived notions of what it is and how it works. And actually, it's exactly what you've just described. It's that safe space, that person who, no matter what, my therapist, my hypnotherapist, which is why I'm now a hypnotherapist myself, because it's the key technique that helped me. But my hypnotherapist is still a part of my life now. He's adopted granddad to my 2 children. He's part of our family. He trained me. So and obviously not everyone has that kind of relationship with their therapist, but for me, he is, I know, without a shadow of a doubt, I can tell him anything.
Yeah.
And there will never be any judgment. There will only ever be care and love and support, and whatever help he can give me in whatever area of my life I'm talking to him about. And that, for me, is just, well, for anyone, I think, is invaluable to know that you have that in your life and you can reach out for it whenever you want. Which, even though when you come to work on something, it can be scary, even now, because you've got to maybe dig deep or unearth something you really would rather not unearth. But to know that you've got someone to hold your hand while you do that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think also there's one, my therapist said to me, she said, when you go through life, you're carrying 2 carrier bags of issues. And every time something happens, you pick it up, put it in a bag, and you carry on, because you've got to carry on. She said, when you sit down with me, you put your bags down and we chat about what's in the bags. And every now and again, something will fall out that bag. And then when you get up and leave, it's a little bit lighter. And I thought, oh my God, I get it now. I get it. I understand that now. Because, you know, when you just feel like you're just talking for the sake of talking sometimes and you're not getting anywhere. But you do go out and it's like they fall out the bag. And even if they go back in the bag, they go back in the bag filed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. Yeah,
so you can understand things a little bit better and process it easier. So yeah, it just sort of tidies up your head, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. For me, the thing it gave me more than anything was perspective. Yeah. Because you can't always stop the things that are going to come at you, but you can absolutely change your perspective on them. I was thinking this the other day, actually. You're first person to be privy to one of my deep thoughts that I had yesterday. I was going to write a Facebook post about, you know, blah blah, this is the work I do, and tra la 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 la, and you know, if you want to come help me or join the club, together we can change the world. And then I thought, oh, isn't that funny that we go on about changing the world? Because it implies that there's something wrong with the world. Yeah. And actually, I don't think we need to change the world. I think we just need to change our perspective
and change
of it. What needs to change is our perspective of the world, and that's how we change it. Yeah. Not by actually, you know,
doing anything,
the world to pieces, but by going, oh, actually, I hadn't thought of it that way, or I hadn't seen it that way. Perspective is a massively powerful thing.
It is. And I think that's, sorry, I've just got to pick the dog up or he'll start growling because he wants to get up on the couch and he can't because he's a little old man. Got it. pretty Joe. You know.
Hello. He's gorgeous.
He used to be brown and white, so we got called Gizmo. But yeah, he's a little old man. He's a lap dog now. He loves being on your lap. He'll just growl on the floor and whine to get up otherwise. I've forgotten what we were saying then, sorry.
Me too.
Where were we?
Perspective we were talking about. There we go.
About like
changing perspective.
Oh yeah, that's where I was going to go. When you come out of the cancer journey, you have a slap bang in your face, lots of perspective change. And I think that's where a lot of our ladies really struggle to handle it, because everything that mattered before doesn't matter anymore. And it's the little things you appreciate. And a lot of people get overwhelmed with that and feel a little bit, and it can cause a bit of a depression sometimes, because they realise they're in a job that they don't like and they don't want to do that anymore. They realise how much everybody around them likes bitching and, you know, over little tiny things and stuff. And they just sort of lose that relationship with people that they've had for so long. And then all of a sudden, they don't like the way people are. And it's kind of, I can't relate to you anymore. You're completely different to me. And it's really overwhelming to have to try and deal with. I think, so perspective is good in some ways, but I think it needs to be filtered in. And that can only come with counselling or therapy and stuff like that, isn't it? So it is really important. So can I ask you, what empowers you and drives you day to day? What gets you out of bed and goes, I'm going to have a good day today. I'm going to do this? Because you must be so empowered, because Miss Happiness Club, you're happy every day.
I'm not though. You see, this is the common misconception. I'm not. Everyone goes to me, oh, you run the Happiness Club, you must be happy all the time. I'm like, no, I'm not, because I'm a human being.
Yeah,
Nobody is. You know, I'm a human being, and I get annoyed with my children, and you know, I get fed up with my husband, and I get frustrated with my work, and same as everyone else. It's just simply that I now have a set of tools at my fingertips that bring me out the other side of anything like that quicker and easier. That's it. And that's what I share, and I think that's what drives me, is sharing that knowledge with. I'm learning continuously, constantly, and I want to share what I've learned with whoever the hell will listen to me. So
it feels good that you're making a difference to their day as well, aren't you? You know, you're picking people up, so you found like your worth and your cause, so to speak.
Yeah, totally, because I'm a helper. Yeah, I'm absolutely, that's who I am. I'm a helper. Yeah, you are too, absolutely. And so anytime I can help someone, that gives me a buzz like no other. You know, it's not for recognition. It's because I know that thing I've said or that thing I've done has helped someone see it another way, like I was helped to see it another way, and that will make it will make a difference in their life. It will, you know, impact their life. Like you're talking about perception before, and perspective, and having that slap in the face. And for me, that was very similar to the experience I had. I mean, the reason I went for therapy when I was 25 is because my dad dropped dead of a heart attack, and it turned my world upside down. But exact same kind of reaction, all those things that mattered before just weren't important. And that's how I ended up going for therapy, because I was completely lost, because my whole world just turned upside down in the space of a day.
And nothing made sense. It was
like, oh God, nothing made sense, nothing mattered. Like the mantra that went through my head was, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. What are you complaining about that for? It doesn't matter. What are you thinking that thing for? It doesn't matter. It was like this, like you say, like a massive bang in the face of, this is what actually matters. But you can't hold on to it properly because you've never thought that way before. Yeah. So that's what led me to therapy, exact kind of same process, to help me grab hold of that perspective. And that's what empowers me now, is helping other people to make sense of that, to realize, because people are so negative without realizing they're being negative, because it's just how they've always been.
Yeah,
to actually pick someone up on it. Yeah, that's it. But to pick someone up on it and say, Do you realize what you've just said to yourself? Do you realize that you've just, like, as a throwaway comment, told yourself that you're rubbish, or you're not worthy, or you don't deserve that thing? That's heartbreaking to me. I find that heartbreaking.
It is. They just get into a mindset where they don't even notice that they're doing it. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. So next question. Have you got a life quote that you always go by?
Yes, and I finish every single workshop that I run ever ends with this quote, because I just think it is a doozy. And it is, life is not the way it's supposed to be. It is the way it is. The way you cope with it is what makes the difference.
Oh, good. That's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Definitely. And for me, that sums up exactly what I do. It's about your response, your perspective. It's not, life is what it is. And, and what we do is spend our lives trying to go, why is life like this? Why can't it be perfect? And it isn't. It just is what it is. But your response to it and how you cope with whatever's being thrown at you is just the key, totally.
There's another one that's quite similar to that someone said the other day, and it's life happens for you, not to you, which I really like that one as well.
Yeah, that's ace. And again, that for me, when you're talking about that slap in the face of the whole new perspective, that whole new perspective, that slap in the face, that's where growth happens. That's where growth starts. That's where growth comes from. It feels horrible at the time, but that's absolutely where growth comes from. You know, that's it. It's there's a famous quote by some Buddhist somewhere, I can't remember, about the lotus flower, and the lotus flower only grows in mud. But it's one of the most beautiful flowers in the world, but it has to be planted in mud. That's how the growth happens. Same.
It's funny, you know, talking to you, I'm comparing all the people I've interviewed about this and asked these questions to, and every single person who I've interviewed who feels empowered has said it's because they help other people, or they say that's what gets them out of bed in the morning, helping other people. Every one of them, Joe, it's ridiculous. You know, when you just think, makes you have that perspective look again, and you start thinking all the people who are selfish in the world and all the people who are after the next best thing, they never actually find the happiness. But if they start to give to others, that's the empowerment they're seeking. That makes sense. That gives them their worth. That gives them their cause, their reason for being here, the name that they're asked for, and you know that they're searching for. And it's just a little light went boom, like that. It was when I was talking with Angelita, actually. She said to me, "There's like the long spoon theory. Have you heard of that one?"
Yeah.
She said it was like a picture. Everybody's sitting at a table, and they've all got spoons that are way too long for their arm. So the food comes, and they can't feed themselves because it's coming up to their ear. And then one person decides to feed someone else, then they feed that, and they can all eat. And then I said, yeah, but if one just keeps taking the food, eventually they're all going to stop feeding that one person. Do you know what I mean? If they decide to not give and they just take, it's exactly the same in society, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
I love that. I always understand things in pictures. If I can visualize it, I get it. If it was written down, I wouldn't follow that at all. But yeah, it's just like, that is society, isn't it? Those people who give, they get more back. And those who don't give and are completely selfish, they never feel satisfied.
No, but again, you see, for me, there's something underneath that. For me, I grew up around a lot of selfish people. And for me, selfish is just masking a massive insecurity, a massive feeling of unworthiness, of not good enough. Yes, that's a word.
Because they're trying to prove they are so much so, aren't they?
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things I teach people to do is, because, I'm a helper, and I get a buzz out of helping people, but I don't get my sense of self-worth from helping other people. I get my sense of self-worth from myself, from spending time, and this is part of what I do every morning. I spend time every morning reaffirming to myself who I am, how I am, who I want to be, how I want to be, identify any gaps, I might journal around them. But actually, I just remind myself every single day of the things that I love, the things that I'm good at, the qualities I have that I like, the things that I've achieved, the things that I've done. That's how I build my self-worth inside me, is by, and like I said at the beginning, remembering who I am and that I have everything I need inside here, regardless of what goes on outside me. And helping people is part of that. But yeah, I agree that that's a gorgeous analogy. I've never come across that before, the long spoon thing. That's nice. I like it.
It really got me. I just thought, oh my goodness. And your final question before my dog kicks off completely, I don't know whether you heard him muffing then, is what message would you give to someone who just wasn't feeling it, just wasn't feeling empowered at all? Like, where should they start? What message would you give them?
So I would absolutely encourage people to take the pressure off, to just allow yourself to feel however you're feeling in whatever given moment you're in at that time. Just allow that to happen. Don't try and resist it. Don't try and fight against it. Don't try and say, I should be feeling like this. I should be doing this. I should be this person. Just allow yourself to be where you are and how you are in that moment, because that's the work, is to just accept it and allow it, so that you can then take a step forward instead of pushing against it and keeping yourself in the same place. So absolutely, and it's always step by step for me. It's like a tiny little step every day. That's all you need to do. Don't go, oh, I have to change right now into a different person within an hour. Just take a little step towards that person every single day, and you'll look back in a couple of months and you won't recognize yourself.
I think a lot of cancer patients come out the journey. I am one, I hold my hands up to it. Come out the journey with a bit of a time limit that you give yourself before it comes back. So I tend to push myself to do as much as I can in a day, because I don't want to waste a moment, and I want to be productive, and I want to make a difference. And it's like, I can afford to take the foot off the pedal a little bit, but I feel guilty that I'm wasting some time that other people didn't get to have, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It makes perfect sense. And I haven't experienced that, but I can empathize with that. And I guess to a certain extent, I'm similar in that my dad was done at 50. I'm 48 now. So
my mum was 55, yeah.
And I've got 2 years to go before I'm the same age that my dad left this earth on. And so, yeah, I want to make sure that I'm making the most of my time. Not that I think I'm going to cark it at 50, but, I want to make sure that I'm making the most of my time. But at the same time, actually, it's that thing, isn't it? We just don't see looking after ourselves as making the most of the time. But it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. You absolutely have to come first in your own life. You have to. Because how do you do, I'm a helper, totally. But I help myself first, not through selfishness, but because I know if I don't, I can't help anybody else.
I need to learn from you. Because I do the opposite. Right. Help everybody else out first, and then there's nothing left for me. So I lie on the bed going, right, need to do some exercise, can't be bothered. Need to do this, can't be bothered. And I just burn out, and then I'll have a couple of days completely like, and then say, right, we can do this now, we can do this, and we can do this. Yeah, I just don't learn. It's constant. I go, woo, what's it called? There's like a burnout thing, there's a theory, and the burnout theory thing. I do that, and I tell everybody not to do it. Do as I say, not as I do, girls, just so you know. Giving away all the secrets here, aren't I? Telling everybody that I'm really naughty. I don't do what I should be doing, I know. And they all tell me, to be fair. I think they can see it. When you walk in with your eyes like that. Yeah. But I enjoy it, you see. It's like, it's not work to me.
And I mean, honestly, that's part of it, because I love what I do. So yeah, would be really easy for me to just keep doing what, like, all the time, because it does fuel me. It energizes me. It pumps me up. I love it. I get a buzz out of what I do. Not every single aspect of it, but most of it. So yeah, that's different then, isn't it? It's your passion, it's your love, it's good for you as well. But you absolutely have to build in the chill out, do nothing, just relax time. And it's not easy.
I started doing like a 3-mile walk every day, and I thought this is really good for me. It lasted 3 days, but for those 3 days I couldn't just enjoy the birds, I had to have a coaching thing on in my ears, a business thing, and I just thought, it's just defeating the object, isn't it? Defeating the object. I'm not switching off. I'll learn. I just like to see what I can achieve before my time is up.
And that makes perfect sense. It does. But actually, do you know what? You would find you would be well more productive, way more productive, if you actually took those breaks in and gave yourself chill out time. You would actually get way more done.
I know. I just feel guilty doing nothing, and I shouldn't do. I know, I'm naughty.
For you to do there, Samantha Lewis.
I've really enjoyed this chat, Joe. I really have. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. And now I've told all my diamonds, all my naughty things that I do as well, because of you.
All right.
All right. So thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. Give everybody a wave. That's Jo Howarth from the Happiness Club. Look her up. You find her on Facebook. You on Facebook, Joe?
Yeah, Facebook.
All right. See you soon.